The mindfulness bell invites us to find our seat, to go within, and to consciously breathe. Breathing in, I breathe in, and breathing out, I breathe out. My father, Thich Nhat Hanh, my spiritual father, one of many, said this is a practice of mindfulness. And you can just simply say in on the in-breath and out silently to yourself on the out-breath. And that profound spiritual practice takes you into present moment awareness. It takes us out of our narrative of the past. It doesn't launch us into some crazy fantasy about the future, but it assists us in being here now, which was Ram Dass's, another one of my fathers, spiritual fathers, probably the very first one, was this way to live in this world, to be here in this sacred moment now. And so this Father's Day, we invite our spiritual ancestors. And so many of them were male. And so for someone who had a professor for a father, an alcoholic and a depressed individual, a survivor of World War II, I mean, he had such a beautiful repertoire, but I'm going to give him a rest and invite those, so many spiritual fathers to assist in this journey on this Sunday, where we're exploring the theme, shifting into freedom. That means we shift out of a consciousness that might be torn in bondage and judgment and suffering, and a spirit that is free to see the good, the God, the grace in everything. It's a simple shift of attention. And so we give thanks for this journey called life, where we always end up in present moment awareness. And then as that beautiful song that Bob was playing, everything must change. The young become the old. But as we change, there is that which is changeless and eternal. Let us call it our jubilant and beholden soul. Now I reflect on my ancestry within the Christian community, and I see it with mystical eyes. When Jesus would say, be like a child if you would enter this kingdom, he was pointing to that original innocence. And when he talked about a kingdom, it's not somewhere over the rainbow. No, he was talking about the kingdom of heaven that lies within you. And Jesus said, and it's all around you. But we don't see it because we have this old way of thinking that it was somewhere over the rainbow when it's right there, right now. And so we allow this awareness that is flowering at this stage of life to assist us in assuming the consciousness that is necessary to meet life in a free sort of way. We're shifting into freedom, and we're shifting out of bondage thinking. We're shifting into light and love, and we're shifting out of judgment and rules and sin. Imagine no sin. I wonder if you can. I have an acronym for sin that I like to use, which is self-inflicted nonsense. And then I can smile. When someone says, go and sin no more, oh, please, more self-inflicted nonsense. And then we can enjoy, when Jesus said to be like a child, he was talking about children are innocent and free and playful. So could we find that inner child? Jesus also said a child shall lead them. And so we find this sweet, innocent aspect of our soul that is always waiting right there in this present moment. And so we rest as that awake, aware, loving presence. and we observe. We observe our mind, how the mind can run away with a narrative, or the mind can be like the TV that we turn off, and it's sitting there, but it's still there. It's just not running away with a soap opera. And then we have a beautiful sign in the classroom that says, "Silence is your perfume." Well, there's an image for the right brain, isn't it? Silence is your perfume. Could we rest in that silence? One of the Bible verities, it says, "Be still and know that I am God." So in that stillness, there is a knowing that all there is God. And if all there is God, well, then I must be God too. Maybe there is only God. There's a Karen Drucker song that says, "There is only God, a God that heals, a God that sets us free." And then she says, "There is only love." And God and love become synonymous. And so there is a shift in consciousness. And it's all about a shift. Albert Einstein says, when you shift out of the me, which has its preferences and its judgments, then you can shift into the we, where we're all one. And ultimately, he says, you arrive at the consciousness where it is all the one. It is all the one life. And that's called unity consciousness. We're teaching a class on it by James Twyman. It's the universe revealing itself through every little flower and every little bunny rabbit. It's the one life. I looked out of my dining room window this morning, and there was a little squirrel running down the path with a yellow tail. And I'm thinking, a yellow tail on a little brown squirrel. How uniquely beautiful that was. And so then I let go of that thought, and I just smiled. Yet another beautiful expression of life. So pay attention. This life is here for all of us. And so it's with grateful hearts and a playful spirit that we open to the mystery of belonging to the universe. Take a deep integrating breath. Give a sigh for the divine. You have arrived. You are home. From my lovely teacher, Tay Thich Nhat Hanh. Bob and Kelly have a fun little song that we're going to start off with. And I love it when...
I'm pretty sure everyone knows this one, so you can feel free to sing along with me. Peter, Paul, and Mary.
Peter, Paul, and Mary. Yeah. Who were they? Brothers and my sisters all over this land. If I had a bell, I'd ring it in the morning, I'd ring it in the evening, all over this land. I'd ring out danger, I'd ring out warning, I'd ring out love between my brothers and my sisters all over this land. If I had a song, I'd sing it in the morning, I'd sing it in the evening, all over this land. I'd sing out danger, I'd sing out warning, I'd sing out love between my brothers and my sisters sisters all over this land. I got a hammer, and I got a bell, and I got a song to sing all over this land. It's the hammer of justice, it's the bell of freedom, it's a song about love between my brothers and my sisters all over this land. It's the hammer of justice, it's the bell of freedom, it's a song about love between my brothers and my sisters all over this land. Oh, wow. Peter, Paul, and Mary are back with us today. Thank you. That was so much fun. It's kind of magical when time collapses. And when you're as old as I am, it's kind of fun to see that time is the illusion, because all that really does exist is the eternal now moment. And so when the past can be brought into the present moment and the future knows that it's just a fantasy, it doesn't even exist, then the power is, who am I now? What is the level of consciousness that I'm cultivating? Am I cultivating something that is going to strengthen and heal the past? And it's so funny because my little pug made his transition. It was 2 weeks ago today. I came home from church, and he was just really fragile, and he was staggering around. I put his food out. He fell over. He couldn't eat it. I put it in his little dog bowl, his bed. He lay in the bed and he ate it, and then his head fell into the bowl, and so I took him out, and he fell over when he tried to do his business, and he was crying, and so I carried him up to bed, and I put him in bed with me, next to me, and about 3 a.m, I reached over, and he was ice cold, and he had left his body, and I texted my son Adam, and he was right over there by 7 a.m, and we took him and we put him in the ground and put a little pine tree, a little loblolly pine is growing there. But he's still with me. And it's the funniest thing. It's been 2 weeks now. Barbara Rowland sent me this beautiful little card, and it had a picture of a dog on the card with a halo over his head. And he says, he's not by your side anymore, but he's always in your heart. And so I put that on my chair, by my chair on my desk. And I'm looking at it every single day. And I run into the people. Trey's the head, my husband's the head of the 5 Points neighborhood watch thing, and people walk by and they say hello and wave at me, and they say, how are you doing? And I said, well, that little black pug, he's now in the backyard, and we have these conversations. But it's so healing, because I hear so many stories of how people were raised by their animals, how they're still with. The relationship may have gone astray, but this man across the street, he's maybe 40 years old, he said, I was raised with this dog, and the dog is still here with me. And so it's bringing out this kind of level of consciousness that we're all spiritual beings. Yes, we're having a human experience, but those that are no longer here in form are still here with us. And when are we going to wake up? That's a huge realization, Miss Sylvia, that we're spiritual beings. We're having human experience. Barbara Rowland's only sister, what was her name? Sandy. She died in a car accident when I was brand new here at the center. It was at the other building where we were living. And she was in a car accident. She transitioned in. I think it was my first funeral. And I had never done one. And I thought, what am I going to say about a beautiful young woman? She had her 2 little girls in the back seat. And so I went into my office back at the other center, and the Bhagavad Gita fell off the shelf. And I opened the Bhagavad Gita, and it said, spirit was never born and spirit never dies. And I can remember saying that with such certainty, that what we are, we're spiritual beings. We're having the human experience, but spirit is eternal. Now that awareness was worth, thank you, Sandy, forever. Because it's true. We don't die. Our body dies. And relationships may die in form, but if they were ever anything, they're still here in essence. And when my twin sister died, I was here at the center. It was Christmas Day, Sunday on Christmas Day, and I was in the classroom, and I get a text from my niece in Alaska that says, call me Uncle Scott. That's my middle name. That's what my twin called me. And I called my niece in Alaska, and she said, they found Mom dead this morning. Will you call our sister, the only remaining sister? And so, okay, Christmas morning, my twin is no longer in her body. And then my twin starts to speak to me. She says, Scott, I want to be with you. Literally, I could hear her voice. And I said, Pat, I'm not ready to go yet. She called me her womb mate. That was the way she had a sense of humor. And I said, Pat, I'm not ready to go yet. And Pat said, no, Scott, I want to be with you in life. And I had no clue what that meant. Well, I found out. She's with me all the time now. But she's the sassy, fun little sister that I was raised with. She's not that compromised lady that she was at the end of her life. And I'm so grateful that okay, I know I'm strange to begin with, but now I've got my twin sister with me, and it's a blessing. And so open up to life when it starts to wake you up to these various odd little things. Um, I wanted to pull out some people that have inspired me over the years. I'm speaking on the shifting into freedom. The first week I talked about open-hearted awareness. When we open our heart, we have an awareness. The heart knows oneness, whereas the head wants to get into analysis paralysis. You don't want to go there. Go into the wisdom of the heart. And then the second week, last week, it was always say yes to life. Say yes even when life gives you the uncomfortable stuff. And it's going to give you uncomfortable stuff. Because in the saying yes to the uncomfortable stuff, there's a healing in there somewhere. There's a release. Sometimes we need to let go of something in order to awaken to something deeper. They're called growth spurts, whatever. When people, a relationship might have to end in order for a new relationship to start. A job might have to end. And so coming to Huntsville was a huge saying yes to something. I thought I'll go anywhere but Alabama, and I came to Alabama. I said I'll do anything but become a minister. I've been doing this for 37 years. So obviously I didn't have a clue, Raul, but the universe did. And the man that I've been with for 50 years, I said, anybody but him. Well, I've been with him, so God knows, I don't know. So this week I'm going to explore the idea of hearing the cries of the world, because the universe is speaking to us. And there's an awful lot going out there in the world. And could we pay attention instead of running away from it? I think it's wonderful that we're waking up on planet Earth. Yes, all the darkness has to be exposed. We have to have conflicts with our neighbors, and maybe that argument has to ensue. But when you do it with love, and when you do it with listening to where they're coming from, as Raul likes to say, you'll find a pony in there somewhere underneath all that what. So one of my favorite teachers is Jeff Foster. He was the man that was there. You talk about Father's Day. He's a young man, but he talks about falling in love with where you are, saying yes to where you are at life at whatever stage Raul is cancer-free now. Say yes to where you are. Hallelujah. Praise Jesus. So here's how this lovely young man says it. He says, there is a loving promise. I will always listen deeply to you. We say to life at this stage of life, whatever life is presenting to us. I will not get into a drama with you anymore in life. I will not indulge and feed your stories and your mental conclusions and all of your fears. Boy, isn't this a nice agreement to make with yourself? I will not mistake who you are for my story about you or my dream of who I think who you were or are to be. So we'll let go of all that fantasy, Mr. Michael, and meet you right in where you are. And he says, but I'm going to call you my friend. This is a conversation we're having at the very beginning of the book. I will meet you in the fires of hell. I will hold you, and I will hold your hand right here. Kelly is always holding my hand when I fall into that little fearful place. She's always been like that. I will walk with you as far as you need to walk, and I'm not going to turn away from you. For you are my own self, and in the deepest recesses of our experience, we are intimately each other, and we cannot pretend otherwise. So could we meet each other when we're going through those kind of crazy moments? Judy Graff was with me at the beginning, every step of the way. And I know it was tough. And my beloved Adam is there with me all the time, dead pug and all. And so if you feel confused, he says, beloved Jeff, he says, then feel confused now. And if you feel frightened, well, then feel frightened now. And if you are bored, well, let's get profoundly bored together. This is the accept the things you cannot change. And if you're burning with rage, well, let's burn together a while and see what happens. So you're not in denial anymore. You're saying, okay, there's going to be some sorrow in life. My little Zen calendar, the day the pug died, it says, go through life with joy in your heart, even when you're in sorrow. And I took that little piece of my Zen calendar out and I carried it around with me. Go through joy in your life, even when you're in sorrow. Yeah, there's going to be sadness. I still miss that little black pug, but I feel him in my heart. So here's how Jeff goes on to conclude this. When we break the mold, and interrupt the outdated patterns that we all have. And Tina and Trey have the same kind of patterns. And I love talking. That's Adam's wife and my husband. And we make an unexpected commitment to dignify those present experiences by radically connecting with what's really here without judging it or pushing it away. Perhaps then a great healing is truly possible. So when all this stuff comes up, we don't push it away. We say, okay, let's bring it on. There's confusion, there's anger, there's anxiety. I mean, our planet is going through a huge thing. And I'm going to go to near the end of the book and see where Jeff takes us. He does a little, what our sacred work is. It's just a little thing. He says, so now, he said, at this stage of life, cherish your doubts. They're the seeds of the great mystery. Ooh. Embrace your sadness. They can offer great joy that lies underneath them within. Turn to face your fears. At their core lies peace beyond all words. When you face the fears, and the acronym for a fear is false evidence appearing real. When you face the fear, at their core is a peace that passes beyond words. There's an awful lot of talk about death in our household. My husband is 78. He's fallen several times. All the animals are now dead. And all he wants to talk about is death. And he wants to know, who do I want to do my memorial service when I die? I said, you're getting a little crazy here. And he says, maybe we should sell the house and travel the world. I said, let's just be where we are. I mean, death, more death. Hoy vey. But I can't avoid the conversation. Let's turn to face our fears. And at their core lies this peace. Celebrate your boredom. It's radically alive. Oh, that's cute. Hold on to your grief and let it break your heart wide open. Holy cow. Befriend your anger and know that intimately it is the life power that burns the sun. So when anger comes up, meet it in a detached sort of an awareness. There's anger arising. Acknowledge your pain. It's the body's plea for some kind attention. When I go through the garden and I tend it and I notice certain things need some attention, there can be some sadness because some things have to be released and for other things to. All feelings are deeply intelligent, says Jeff. So get out of their way and let them do their sacred universal work. Give them your gentle attention, give them your curious heart, and give them your loving soul. Give them your loving soul. So that's this little idea of falling in love with what's going on in order to meet what is and hopefully rise up in freedom. So he's the first one that is like my little guru there. The other one is Mark Nepo, who's my age, who has been through all of this. He's survived cancer 3 times, and he has a way of helping us shift into freedom by finding the healing and listening to the healing cries of the world. And he says, we suffer, here he's quoting Aeschylus, another one of the fathers, spiritual fathers. Aeschylus says, we suffer into knowledge. As if knowledge is the fruit that grows inside the hard case of our livingness. So we must help each other harvest meaning from our suffering in doses that we can bear. We suffer into knowledge. We meet what is, and then we can all bear it. And he said, the word dose comes from the Greek word dosis, which means gift. He says, one way to endure the unexpected roughness of life is to nurse each other with small amounts of meaning, beauty, truth, and love. You meet what life gives you in doses, and there's a gift in there somewhere. He says, we participate in a complex yoga of the heart that lets us know our strength and our lineage. We don't run away from stuff anymore. We meet what is. And this is good for me to be reading right now because I've been facing a lot of stuff on the planet with my husband and now with the pug. And most of the time, we're revealed slowly, given our lessons in doses that we can bear, the way sap oozes from a maple tree in time to be collected. And then all of a sudden, before you know it, there's no slow, it just happens all at once. I was thinking about who is probably my greatest spiritual father of all, and Emerson came to mind. Ralph Waldo Emerson. He was in the 1800s, and his whole life was his young wife, Ellen Tucker. She died when she was 19 of tuberculosis. They had just gotten married the year before, and he went into a severe depression. He was a minister at the First Church in Boston, and he quit his job. His last sermon there was called The Last Supper, and it was all something about his wife not being able to receive communion because she hadn't been baptized or something. So he spoke about the unnecessary, the non-necessity of communion. And he gave his speech at the Harvard Divinity School address, where he spoke to this graduating class and said, let go of your God of tradition and let go of your God of the intellect and let your soul be set on fire. And so through that adversity of her death, it took him on a quest to find truth. And then he went out into nature, he withdrew, and he wrote the book called Nature. And he said, what is nature but a mute gospel? So he started the transcendental movement. And I remember when I encountered him, I thought I finally found a teacher that speaks to me, because he was saying, let go of the traditional religion and find something where you find God in everything. And his little essay, The Oversoul, kind of speaks a little bit to that. And I wanted you to feel the transmission. You know, Tay, the beautiful calligraphy over my head, he's one of my teachers too. And he said, your teachers transmit themselves to you, they live in you. Your parents transmit themselves. So I like to feel his spirit when I just pull a little bit of him out. And so every page of the book is underlined. Every page. Oh, and here's the little thing for my Zen calendar. Oh, no, that's not it. It looked like it. Okay. Our faith comes in moments, and he says, but our vices are habitual. Oh, Emerson. He says, yet there is a depth in those brief moments which constrains us to ascribe more reality to them than to all other experiences. He says, namely, the appeal to experience is forever invalid and vain. There's something that's waking up within us that needs our attention. We can't run away from it anymore. And so he says, the philosophy of 6,000 years has not searched the chambers and the magazines of our soul. He's inviting us to go within, Mr. Michael, which is what you're doing all the time, the chambers of your soul. And in its experiments, there has always remained in the last analysis a residuum that it could not resolve. Man is a stream whose source is hidden. So there is this stream whose source is hidden that flows through all of us, and he's inviting us to go there. And sometimes everything has to fall apart for us to open to that discovery. He says, I am constrained in every moment to acknowledge a higher origin for events than the will that I call my will. There is a divine order in the universe, and it's asking us to inquire and pay attention, Miss Sylvia. So he says, when I watch that flowing river, which out of regions that I see not, pour for a season its streams into me, I see that I am a pensioner. He's using metaphor. I draw from the universe. I am a pensioner. And he says, not a cause, but a surprised spectator of this ethereal water. It's called life, and it's moving through us. Could I move into the balcony and be the awareness? Adam's there all the time. He's aware when certain patterns come up, and to be in that awareness. I desire and look up, and I put myself in an attitude of reception, but for some alien energy, the visions come. These visions come. So could we pay attention to this awareness that is always giving itself to us? And he says, that great nature in which we all rest, that is the unity of the one. We're teaching this class on unity consciousness. It's the one, yet again, waking up within all of us. And here at a young age, when everything seemed to have fallen apart, he's talking about it, and he calls it the oversoul, capital O, capital S. The unity is the oversoul within which every man's particular being is contained and made one with all others. We meet in the oversoul. That beautiful lady's smiling because she knows what I'm talking about. That common heart of which all sincere conversation is the worship, to which all right action is submission, that overpowering reality which confutes our tricks and talents and constrains everyone to pass for what he is, and to speak from his character and not from his tongue, and to which evermore tends to pass into our thought and hand and become the wisdom and virtue of power and beauty. That was 12 lines, one sentence long. They didn't know commas and periods back then. And so Thank you, Ralph. Let me just give you a titch more. Meanwhile, within man is the soul of the universe, the wise silence, the wise silence, the universal beauty. There's some commas here. He's having us pause. To which every part and particle are equally related in the eternal one, all capital letters. We're meeting in the one, in the oversoul. He wrote this 200 years ago. Holy cow. The act of seeing and the things seen, the seer and the spectacle, the subject and the object are now one. We're not separate from the one life that's revealing itself. Now, this guy is a teacher to me. Let go of your God of tradition and the intellect that says you have to be baptized or you're going to burn in hell. He says, hell no. For within or from behind, the light shines through us upon everything, and it makes us aware that we are nothing and that the light is all. Well, is this not unity consciousness? What we are light beings. And page after page after page after page, just a titch more. He says, a man is the facade of a temple wherein all wisdom and all good abide. And what we commonly call man, the eating, drinking, planting, counting man, does not, as we know him, represent himself, but misrepresents himself. We do not respect. But his soul, whose organ he is, would he let it appear through his actions, would make our knees bend. If we allowed our souls to express, we would fall to our knees and no longer think of how much money you made and what kind of degrees you have. All reform aims in some one particular way to let this great soul have its way through us. In other words, to engage us to obey and receive the waterfall of light, because that's all there is. 200 years ago, telling us to go to the light. That's what we are. We're light beings. And it's so funny because I'm doing the James Twyman class on unity consciousness to prepare us for my last teacher that I've had. And I've had so many. His name is Llewellyn Von Lee. He's a Sufi mystic, and he's older than I am, so he's probably in his 80s. And he's literally done exactly what Emerson talked about. He's merged into the light. And this is his book called The Alchemy of Light. And these are reflections of his where he's in the light and the light is revealing itself. And this is the next class I'm going to teach in about 6 weeks. And I was trying to prepare us all for that, because how do you teach the light? I mean, literally, he's going and merging with the light. Well, I'm going to give you a little taste of that. And remember, there's a transmission here. And this is the full enchilada, Adam. Llewellyn, what we think is our evolution is the evolution of the light of our true nature. And it's expressing itself in our inner and our outer life and expanding our consciousness. So could we open this little light of mine when we sing it? I'm going to let it shine. Could we notice the light of the universe and let it through? We're going to do a little song about that with Karen Drecker's help in a few minutes. So back to the light. He says, the journey of the soul takes us home with a big H into the light, where it finally reveals that this light within us is the one light of, hey, beloved, there is only one light. The light of the heaven and the light of the earth is the light within our hearts. And we are the light of God within the world. The light within our heart is the light of the beloved. That's what we'll call God. This simple truth of the unio mystico. Unio means one, and the mystico is the mystical realization. Unio mystico finally takes the wayfarer from the prison of the ego into the ever-expanding dimension of this divine nature and its true purpose, and into a direct experience of oneness of life. So this is how he begins the book. We're going to go into the direct experience of the oneness of life. Holy cow. Let me just give you some taste of it. Oy vey. The work is to bring the light of the whole into the individual everyday life so that it can transform our lives. Only the light of the world, which is the light of the whole, can transform this world, just as only the light of the self with the big S can transform our individual life. So we're opening to this something that is so much bigger. On our individual journey, we know that without this light, there can be no real or lasting transformation. We have yet to fully realize how this also holds true for the whole world. We're not separate from the world. We think we are, but we're all interconnected. Thich Nhat Hanh has a phrase that says we inner are. He calls it inner beingness. And we sing that little song, I am you, you are me, we are one. The light within me sees the light within you. That's namaste. So we're shifting out of me into we. And so Llewellyn's the direct experience. Oy vey. I should put him on. He talks like this, so maybe I should use his voice. Because I remember once I talked about my struggles on the spiritual path. He said, "It's not about you. It's never been about you." And I said, "Well, what's it about?" "It's about the light of the beloved." And okay, so that's Llewellyn. The light of the world knows that we are one. And it works within this context. So through life's essential unity, it has direct access to all of life's interconnections, which are an expression of this one unity. So pay attention, because this unity consciousness is always with us, but sometimes we get distracted and we think it's you and me. No, we're all one. The light itself is the unity. Just as the light of our soul is present throughout our body and throughout our psyche, so is the light of the world present in every cell of creation, in every thought and in every dream. It is present in each atom and in all the connections between the atoms. It is the living network of light that sustains all of life. Boy, kind of slip into that one, Adam. It's almost like taking LSD, isn't it? All you are is the light itself, and all there is the light. I mean, it's literally a psychedelic kind of concept. When we relate to this light within life, we relate directly to the wholeness of life. This is part of the power of the relationship of light upon light. And when our individual light relates to the world's light, which permeates in everything in life, then we have a direct access to all of life's interconnections and to all of the archetypal structures that form this life, that are the riverbed through which the waters of life flow. That's the same riverbed that Emerson talked about, that within the riverbed of life, we're seeing the life flowing. So there's awakening, something that happens within all of us. He says, we place ourselves at the very center of life, the center that is everywhere, in every moment. And in the relationship of light upon light, nothing then is excluded, because it is a relationship that belongs to oneness, to our essential unity, and to the unity of all life. And it's happening everywhere. And go to the very, very end of the book where he says, and life sends its messengers into the darkness to remind us, to point us toward the dawn. Hopefully there's a dawn politically in our country coming somewhere. The messenger always comes as a song of hope, beloved, a note of remembrance and an inner call to prayer. We just need to be present and receptive so that we can hear it and respond to this call. The universe is calling. Are you listening? It is a direct for us. It is difficult for us to realize how much is really being given and how much has been prepared for this dawn. Our whole lives have prepared for this awakening, and lastly, he says, as well as being receptive, and next week we're going to speak about our intentions, we bring our spiritual consciousness into life, into the flow of creation. What does this mean? It means to hold an awareness of the divine nature of life and the whole of which we are all a part. To hold in our awareness this divine nature of life and know that we are all a part of it. And next week, the last of the series, I'm going to explore the intentions we can make to have this manifest in our lives and in the world. But prior to that, we're going to have a lovely little song from Kelly and Bob that will assist us in assuming that consciousness. And thank you for the beautiful light and love you both bring.
You too. This is another Karen Drucker song. It's called All Shall Be Well.
All shall be well. What a beautiful awareness.
All shall be well, all shall be well, all manner of things shall be well. All shall be well, all shall be well, all manner of things shall be well. I am walking and I know that I'm not alone. Song of the little one sings to my soul, tenderly calling me home. As she sings, all shall be well, all shall be well, all manner of things shall be well. All shall be well, all shall be well, all manner of things shall be well. I am walking beside the still waters, as fresh as the breeze at dawn. The voice of my ancestors whispering, giving me the strength to carry on. I hear them singing, all shall be well, all shall be well, all manner of things shall be well. All shall be well, all shall be well, all manner of things shall be well. Two more times. All shall be well, all shall be well, all manner of things shall be well. All shall be well, all shall be well, all manner of things shall be well. One more time. All shall be well, all shall be well, all manner of things shall be well. All shall be well, all shall be well, all manner of things shall be well. Last time, all manner of things shall be well.
This is the way the Sufis applaud. Thank you, beloveds. Richard. The invitation to go home, to the peace that passes all understanding, knowing that we've just affirmed that all is well and all shall be well. All manners of things shall be well. And in that awareness, we let go of any resistance. One of the greatest truths that I know is that all suffering is simply a resistance to what is. And when we stop resisting it and knowing that all is well all the time, well, then we're not suffering. We've gone into this deepest acceptance of what is. And then we can find the light, even in the darkest places, because the light is waiting for our attention, the light of the One. And we've cultivated it this morning by acknowledging that it is here. And there's a smile that's forming within my heart. They say that when we incarnate with light and love. And when we leave this mortal coil, we take the light with us, but we leave the love behind. Oh. And so what we are light beings. And we're beginning to awaken to that realization. And as Llewellyn so beautifully points out, there is the alchemy of this light. So we can call upon it by putting our attention on it. And if you can't find your light, look at a little smiling face of a child or a puppy, and you'll see the light shining through that. For me, I go into the garden and I look at the bumblebees, or even those little rabbits that are popping up all over the place, and I see the light shining in their little faces. And so it's all the light of the One, inviting us to wake up. It says, I am you, you are me, we are one. There's only one here. And we smile at that awareness. because the Buddha consciousness is the one that awoke. It's the aware one. I am aware that it is all the one light revealing itself endlessly anew. And we bow namaste consciousness as the light in me sees the light in you. And in this place we are one. How sweet it is and how grateful we are for this ever emerging awareness that never ends, but gets stronger and stronger. Take a deep integrating breath. Give a sigh for the divine, and open your eyes and look around at those beautiful faces. We're going to make a little circle and sing a little song about that. Oh.